Okay, so it's date time, right? It's not number because in for numbers you won't have the slashes, so that's the first thing, right? You could use text, but if you use text, you won't be able to enforce certain rules regarding like months and days in a month. So this format is in day, month, year. And if you use text, you could actually put a day that has a number from 0 and then a number greater than 31, which is not valid for day, and similarly for the month, right? So that's why the time field would be used, right? Next thing, the surname of the member with member ID 003. Smith, correct, right? So for that, all you do is you go to the member ID the record with the specific member ID, and then state the surname of the member. All right. How many members were born after the 19th of October 1994? How many members were born after this date? Before? Sorry. Okay. Yeah. How many members were born before the 19th of October 1994? 3. Right? Everybody saw how they got 3. So it's the 19th of what is it? The 19th of October, right? 1994. So you have one person in 94, one person in 93, and one person in 91. Okay, so that's the 3 members. Okay, write one additional field which would be appropriate for inclusion in this file. So what other kind of information do you think we could keep in this file? Yes, yes, it could be telephone contact. It could be address, like their living address. So any one of those would be okay, right? And the criteria to find the member with surname Balu. Anyone want to give this one a try? How do you do the criteria to find a member or members with surname Balu? Right. So it will be actually member surname equal Balu, right? But what you could do is you do it like in the table form, like what we did last week. So let me see if I share. Right. I'm going to share my screen. So the first thing to do will be member ID. So you have member ID, surname, first name, date of birth, and email address, right? So that's the first thing, right? So you do your table like this. And then under surname, you put the surname. Right, it's clear. So what they ask for is to find everybody with surname Balu, right? So everyone with this surname, the rest of the information will be displayed. Everybody okay with that? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go through the multiple choice paper, right, for the specimen paper. So let me pull that up.
So you there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just trying to get this open up 1 second. All right, okay, let me share my screen now. All right, you all see my screen? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, you should see some multiple choice questions,
Yes,
right? Okay, thanks. So let's start these. Okay, so the first question: when a computer is working on given instructions. It's called C, right? Processing, right? What I want you all to do, right? Okay, yes, C, processing. Okay. Number 2, which of the following types of computers would process information at the fastest rate? Embedded, supercomputers, mainframes, or mobile devices?
Says mainframe.
Mainframe, no, not mainframe.
Oh,
Yes, supercomputers, right? So B is the answer, supercomputers. All right. 3, which of the following are functions of the control unit? Read instruction, direct operations, execute instruction.
says D.
No, not A.
Is D, sir?
Says C.
It's D.
Answer is C,
baby.
right? It
Okay.
directs and executes. The reason why the control unit doesn't read, that's mainly for the input device. The input device does the reading. Okay, that's number 3. Okay. Number 4. Which of the following is a disadvantage of cloud storage? So you have accessibility offline without internet. You have reduction of storage cost. 2, organization. C, increased possibility for disaster recovery. Or D, efficient management of stored data. Right. So remember, cloud storage, when you're thinking about that, you think about storing your files in Google Cloud, right? Google Docs, Google Drive, right? And what that does, you want to know what's the problem or what you could encounter that's undesirable about it. So accessibility, offline without internet, and that is true. If you have no internet, you can't access your files that you stored here. So that's a possible answer. Reduction of storage cloud or storage cost to organization. And yes, that is because instead of you buying a removable drive to store your or back up your data, you can upload the documents to Google Drive, right? So that is an advantage. Increased possibility for disaster recovery. No, whether you have cloud storage or not, it doesn't increase the possibility of disaster recovery, right? Well, actually, yes, it increases the possibility of disaster recovery because you have your data you can recover from, right? It doesn't increase disaster happening, but in terms of recovering your data from disaster, yes, so that's an advantage of it. And then the efficient management of stored data, that will be an advantage. So the only disadvantage there is E. One thing I want to mention here is when doing multiple choice questions, ensure that you read through all the options before you make a decision, right? All right, so let's move on to question 5. Which of the following storage media uses laser technology to store data? So you have a flash drive, magnetic tape, CD-ROM, and hard disk. So which one of these uses laser technology? And laser technology is generally used by optical discs. So yes, C. Okay, next question. Which of the following is an example of an embedded? So you have desktop, IBM Z system, smart television, and laptop. Right, so an embedded computer system, you could think about as being a device that has a computer embedded in it. So it's not a computer by default, right? And the device there would be the smart television, C. Okay, because it is really a functionality of a television system and add computers to it. Okay, next. Which of the following input devices is used to read pencil or pen marks on a multiple choice answer? Right, so the answer is optical mark reader, a B, right? Remember that looks for different shades in the paper. All right, question 8. The most suitable device for the output of architectural drawings is a So what's happening is you have an architect drawing buildings, for example, right? And they want to know what device would you use to output these drawings. And the answer is E, right? A plotter. So a plotter is the most suitable device. Now, technically, a plotter, a laser printer are the answers, right? Because those are both output devices. The light pen is an example of an input device, and the graphics tablet, you could say that's an input device or output device also, right? But the most suitable of the output devices is the plotter. The answer is E. Okay, question 9. Which of the following output is an example of a hard copy? Right, bill produced from a printer is the answer. Okay, the oral speech is well, it's audio. Display on a monitor, that is also a soft copy, right? And a picture on a wall produced by a multimedia projector. So the picture on a wall by itself would be a hard copy, but one that is produced from a multimedia projector, that is a soft copy, right? So that's number 9. Okay, let's move on to number 10. Which of the following tasks would most likely require an advanced graphics card? All right, so you have program development, web browsing, SBA development, and video editing. And the answer would be D. And the reason why is because you would need to have equipment to support dealing with a huge amount of graphics, right? And video is that program development, as you would have done using Pascal. You didn't need a advanced graphics card for that. You could have installed that on most computers. Web browsing, of course, you don't need advanced graphic cards. You could view that on any device, most devices. And SBA development, well, that we did that on computers with minimum specs, right? All right, 11. In modern computers, the CPU speed is measured in right. So remember speed, right? So if we're talking about speed, we are talking about hertz. Bytes would be dealing with data, amounts of data. So modern computers, CPU speeds are measured in gigahertz, right? Kilohertz is an option for CPU speed in general, but the question was in modern computers. So in modern computers, they use gigahertz. So this is a perfect example of a question in which two answers applicable, but this gigahertz is correct, right? Okay, number 12. Quality developers in a company that writes programs to do specific jobs for other companies, right? These programs are called quality developers is a company that writes programs to do specific jobs for other companies. These programs are called right. So they're writing programs to do specific jobs. So for the answer in terms of what's not applicable, general purpose won't be applicable, right? Because that's more generic software. Special purpose, that looks like a feasible option. Custom purpose, that looks also feasible. Off-the-shelf software is similar to general purpose, right? The answer actually for that is B, special purpose, right? Okay. Which of the following are software interfaces? So you have a graphical user interface, a touchscreen, and a menu-driven interface. So which one are software interfaces?
So what was the answer for the other one? The one before?
Was B, special purpose.
All right.
Right? Okay, so software interfaces, right? Okay, so graphical user interface, definitely that's software, right? Touch screen, that I would say that is I would say that's a hardware interface, and menu driven, yeah, menu driven is software. So I would say the answer for that is B. Okay, so let's move on to 14. Desireen has a desktop computer system. She turns on the system and waits 5 minutes, but no image is displayed. During troubleshooting, which of the following is most likely to be identified as the problem? Okay, so this person has a desktop. She turns on the system, waits a couple of minutes, right? No image is displayed. So what could be the issue? Okay, so the keyboard is disconnected. Would that cause the screen not to display anything? The power cable to the monitor is loose, right? So the keyboard is disconnected. That is not going to impact images being displayed, right? So that answer is out. The power cable to the monitor is loose, so that means that the monitor isn't plugged in properly. So that could be a possible reason. The battery power connected to the system is loose, right? That could be one, because if it is, remember this is a desktop. So if it is you don't have battery connected, but is that so? Do you need battery for a desktop? No, right? Desktop doesn't use the battery, okay? Touchscreen is disabled. That's not going to impact the display, right? So the answer for that will be B, okay? The power cable to the monitor is loose. Okay, 15. Which of the following is the name of the interface used by blind persons to perform operations on a computer? Right, so the answer for that would be C, right? Braille. Okay. 16. John is required to email a copy of his SBA to his teacher. This email copy is referred to as soft copy, hard copy, tangible copy, machine readable copy. And the answer would be A, right? A soft copy. 17, Vera is taking an online class and is required to enter her password twice. This process is called the, so you have storing, you have validation, verification, and you have authenticity. So when you have to enter your password twice, that is used for verification, right? Remember, they have two types of verification. And then for validation, validation is dealing with the data after it has been entered. So the answer for 17 would be C. Okay, let's move on to number 18. Which of the following would be the best option to expand your laptop's storage capacity? So you have DVD, CD-ROM, memory card, and magnetic tape. So you have a laptop, right? You want to expand the storage capacity of your laptop. Yeah, I would say memory card also, right? C. 19, James's cafe keeps payroll information stored in files on a cloud account. Which of the following best describes how these files can be accessed? So you have this company keeping payroll information stored in files on the cloud. So you could say it's in Google Docs, right? Google Drive. Which of the following describes how it will be accessed? Right, so sequential. Yeah. C. 20. Which of the following statements best describes the term information? Is it raw facts, meaningful, does not have any value, not the result of processing? 20. Maybe what you all could do when answering on the chat, just put the question and then hyphen on the letter. So I'll be able to see, well, okay, it's the question went now, maybe you sent it for the previous one, okay? All right, so the question is, which of the following statements best describes the term information? Right, so information is actually processed data, right? And data is raw facts. Data is actually one that doesn't have any real value initially, and information is the result of processing data. So the answer is B. It is meaningful. Okay. All right, 21. Which of the following technologies is most suitable for transferring data between two mobile phones? So what do you use for transferring data between two mobile phones? Question 21. Use Bluetooth, fiber optics, microwave, or twisted pair? Right, so the answer is Bluetooth. Okay, many of you may have used this also. already. So you use Bluetooth for transferring data between phones. 22, uploading or downloading data to or from a remote computer is done using blogging, instant messaging, internet relay chat, or file transfer protocol. Yes, so the answer for 22 is D, right? To use FTP or file transfer protocol to upload or download data from a remote computer. All right, 23. Each website on the internet can be accessed by entering a unique address. This address is referred to as HTTP, HTML, FTP, and URL. And the answer is D, URL. Could anyone tell me what HTTP stands for?
Wait, isn't it hypertext transfer protocol?
Right, that's good. What about HTML? Anyone? No? Okay, FTP. Well, we did FTP just now, and URL. Anybody URL? No? Okay, so HTML is hypertext markup language. URL is uniform resource locator, right? Remember, be familiar with acronyms also.
So can you repeat what URL is again, please?
Uniform resource locator. Right? Uniform resource locator. All right. Let's move on to 24. Which of the following network components is best suited for connecting LANs in a metropolitan area network? Right? So first of all, what is a metropolitan area network? Right? Metropolitan area network is a network that spans distances of probably like buildings. And what device is best used for connecting the LANs between these networks?
So
Right.
it's between hub and switch, 132.
Right. So one thing to know is it's for connecting LANs. So that means you're connecting different LANs, different networks. And the device used for connecting different networks is a router. I don't know if you all remember, we went through this one of the previous classes, right? So a router is used for connecting different LANs. A switch is used for extending or adding more devices to one LAN, right? So that's what you use a switch for. And a hub. So switch and hubs are sort of interchangeable. Router is for different LANs, different networks. And the modem is generally will be when you're talking about connecting to the internet or analog to digital devices. So the answer for 24 is C for router. Okay, let's move on to 25. Teachers are able to mark class registers online and provide instant feedback on assessment through the use of, you have social media, learning, simulation software, computer assisted learning. Right. So for 25, the answer is D, right? Computer assisted learning. That's CAL. Okay. The computer assisted learning. Social media will be more for it could be more for like posting messages or articles or links to videos. learning, it's mobile learning, so it's sort of like learning wherever you are. Simulation is creating an environment to reproduce something or a scenario. and computer-assisted learning would help with classroom type situations. So the answer for that is D. All right, 26. Which of the following best defines cyberbullying? Connecting to a network, using an electronic device to harass someone, using electronic devices to connect to Wi-Fi, using mobile devices to send a message to someone. So the answer to 26 is B. Right? That is best defined as cyberbullying based on what we have. Right? Any questions so far? Everybody okay? Any questions?
No, sir.
No? Okay, good. Okay, so at this point, let's take a 15-minute break and we will continue the multiple choice questions. So I'll speak to you guys in a couple minutes.
Thank you.
Let's continue. So let me share the questions. Right. So moving on to question 27. Okay, you received an email from someone who claims to be a representative from your school. The mail asks you to click on a link to reset your password. You should proceed with caution because the email may be what? Spam threat, malware attack, phishing attack, or legitimate request. What you said it is?
Malware attack.
A malware attack, right? Let's see, right? So spam threat. Okay, the email asks you to click on it to reset your password. So, okay, so a spam threat is basically sending you a whole set of information you don't need. So that would be receiving multiple emails from someone, right? That's spam. Malware attack would be an email that has some sort of application on it that when installed, it will try to install on a computer and attack, right? So I think that's a malware attack. Phishing attack is something that asks you for information, and well, legitimate requests will be like if you get an email from the principal or like a teacher, right? So given those options, I would say a phishing attack because it's a link to reset the password. So it's asking for specific information from you. So I'll say C for that one. All right, that's 27. Okay, 28. Using electronic devices to view a chat conversation between two friends in real time without their knowledge is what? Propaganda, violation of privacy, denial of service attack, or electronic eavesdropping. Right, so 28 is eavesdropping, right? So that, because you're not part of the conversation, it's between two persons, and then you are viewing the chat. That's eavesdropping. Okay, 29. The use of a string of asterisks to hide a password being entered into a computer system is termed what? Antivirus, phishing, biometrics, or encryption? Right, so the answer is encryption, right? And you all would have experienced this previously when entering your password. Generally, the text you enter is not shown; it's usually replaced by some asterisks. Okay, number 30. In an effort to secure data on a system, users are required to set a password in a specific format. Which of the following types of measures is this an example of? Right? So what they're trying to do is users have to put in a password, and let's just say, for example, you need to have at least 8 characters, which must include a number, a special character, a capital letter, this sort of thing. So what kind of measure is this you're going to put in place to secure the system? Is it physical, software, hardware, personal? Right, so it's software, because you're actually asking the software to enforce these measures. The answer is B. Okay. 51. Which of the following is a job task of a social media specialist? Maintaining a website, developing software for social use, installing or upgrading social media software on a computer system, generating and sharing content daily over a social media network. So what does a social media specialist do? Right, so a social media specialist will generate and share content over the social media network, right? So you could think about that as the school has a Twitter account or YouTube channel or Instagram account, and this person will be in charge of probably advertising new courses or advertising events the school has, etc. Right, so that's what they do. Number 32. Which of the following are physical restrictions with respect to data security? Firewall, locking of the hardware, biometric system. Right, okay. So definitely locking up the hardware is a physical restriction. So 2 is correct. A biometric system is something that uses part of who someone is, so like a fingerprint, retina scanner, etc. The only tricky one might be the firewall for most persons. And you have to remember, a firewall is a physical device as well as a software device. And how they addressed it in this question is a physical device. So the answer for this one was D, which is 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Which of the following actions is not considered a computer crime? They have piracy, hacking, encryption, and industrial espionage. So which one of these is not a computer crime? Right, so the answer is encryption, C, right? And the reason why, obviously, or piracy, you all know what that is, hacking and industrial espionage. So encryption is not. 34. Including material obtained from online sources in an assessment and then submitting the assignment without giving credit to the online sources is referred to as plagiarism, e-learning, fraternization, or collaboration. And the answer for 34 is A, right? Plagiarism, because you are passing or you are submitting content as your own when it is not your own. That's plagiarism. Yes, 35. Telecommuting can best be described as communicating between two companies, working from home by connecting home and office, working from home by having employees at home, communicating between home and office. Telecommuting, which one best described? Notice they capitalize best, right? Because more than one option describes what telecommuting is. But which one best describes it? So definitely A is not correct at all, right? Working from home by connecting home and office, that definitely is telecommuting. Working from home by having employees at home, that's not necessary, right? Communicating between home and office, yes, but the best answer is working from home by connecting home and office. So B is the best answer for it. Okay. 36. In word processing, an efficient way to move the third paragraph in order to place it after the fifth paragraph is what? Right? So you want to take paragraph number 3 and place it after, right? So you could cut and paste, copy and paste, copy, cut and paste, cut, copy and paste. The key here is, or the key word here is move. So when you move, you basically want to remove it from where it is and move it somewhere else. And the function you used to use is the cut function. So you would cut and paste. Right? So the answer is A. You cut the third paragraph and then place your cursor after the fifth paragraph and paste it there. That's 36. Number 57. The two files used to produce merge letters during a mail merge are primary document and source. Primary document and data source, primary document and merge letters, data source and merge letters, primary document and current letter. Right, so if you all remember from the SBA in particular, in order to produce merge letters, you had to have your primary document, right? That was your letter to the guest with the information. And then you need to have your data source, which was the table from your database with the guest's first name and last name, right? So the answer for 37 is E. Here we have 8 now. Which of the following should be considered when creating a website? Okay, the cost of the web page, position of the home page in the website, compiler need to develop the website, or intended audience for the website. So which one of these you should consider when creating a website? Right, so definitely the intended audience for the website. Right, so the answer is D. Just to go through the correct answers, the cost of each web page, that is something, but it's, I mean, to check or to evaluate each web page is not necessary. The position of the home page in the website. Well, the homepage is the homepage itself, and then compiling to develop the website. You don't need a compiler to do a website per se, right? The answer is D. Okay, let's move on to question 39. Which of the following should be done before publishing a website? Compile the source code, create the algorithm for the website, ensure that all hyperlinks are working correctly, or purchase the software needed to develop the website. So which one of these you want to do before publishing? Right, so okay, so again, compile the source code. You don't really have to compile source code for a website, so A is definitely out. Create an algorithm for the website. When creating websites, as you all did, you're not going to really have an algorithm for it, so B is out. Ensure hyperlinks are correctly. Yes, definitely you want to do that. You know, you don't want to have hyperlinks on your website and it's not taking you to the correct web page or to the correct position on your web page. Purchase software needs to be on the website. Well, that's kind of after the fact, right? You have to purchase your software while you're developing, not when you're publishing. So the answer for 39 is C. All right, 40. What is the name of the highlighted word or picture in a web page that a user can click on to go to another page?
Hyperlink.
Yes, so it's hyperlink, right? C. So remember, a hyperlink could be either a picture or a string of characters. And clicking on that can take you, as I said, to another web page. All right, 41. Text entered into a spreadsheet is aligned towards the left by default. These entries are called right? So what would you call text that is entered?
Is the values?
Yeah, I would say values. I would say that's values. Right? Definitely not formulae or functions. I won't say labels. Okay. 42. Which of the following formatting features is unique to numbers in spreadsheet? So which one of these could you use for numbers in spreadsheet? Bold, italics, custom, and indent. So the answer for this one is indent. Okay? Indent. 43. To center the title rows of a spreadsheet across the columns, what do? Center align the title rows, center align the title columns, merge and center title row, merge and center title columns.
A.
Right, so the question is center the title rows of the spreadsheet across all columns.
Oh, wait. D.
Right, so it's D, right? You're going to merge and center the title columns. So that's like you have a table and you want to have a title over the table. So you're going to merge and center the title column. All right, let's move on to 44. Which of the following is an example of a spreadsheet function? You have the first one, function sum a1, a2, a3, sum equal a1 plus a2 plus a3 equals sum a1 to a3 and then equal a1 plus a2 plus a3. So which one is an example of a spreadsheet function? And the answer?
The NSB.
The answer will be C, right?
Oh.
Because that function is a sum function and it's finding this or calculating some of the values in 3 cells. You could argue that D does the same, and D does calculate the sum, but it's not a function. You're actually adding 3 cells, right? Specifically. So that's what the answer is C. Okay, let's move to 45. Which type of application is best suited to prepare a budget? Database, spreadsheet, word processor, desktop publisher. Publishing, desktop publishing. Yeah, so what I'm thinking about is the budget will contain the like income and expenditure for a company or individual. So what you're gonna have is you're gonna have like categories and then monetary value where you have to do like sums and calculations, this sort of thing. So for me, the spreadsheet is the best suited application for it. So B. Now 46. Which of the following statements is not true of primary keys? They are unique identifiers. They are always in text form. They do not contain blank values. They may be composed of one or more attributes. So for 46, which of the following statements is not true of primary keys? So they are unique identifiers. That is true, and that has to be true, right? For primary key. They are always in text form. That is not true because a primary key can have, it could be numbers, it could be a combination of text and numbers. So that's definitely an answer. They do not contain blank values, and that has to be true. It has to contain blank, sorry. That is true, meaning it cannot be a blank value. Each record must have some information in it. They may be composed of one or more attributes. That is true also. So the answer for 46 is 47. A field in a table that appears as a match of the primary key in another table is called what? Right, yes. So it's a field in a table that appears as a match of primary. So the field in one table is a primary key in another table, and that will be a secondary key, C. Okay. So we saw that in the SVA we were doing when we were using, we had the guest details table with the guest first name, last name, etc. And there was a field that had the accommodation package, but the details for that field were the package IDs, and the package IDs were, or the package ID was a primary key in the package description table. Okay, that's 47. 48. Which database feature can be used to list the names of the male students from a particular class? So if you had a database and you wanted to generate a list of names of the male students from a particular class, what feature would you use? So the best answer for this is a query, right? And you think about it like in the relation to the SBA, when you wanted to list everyone who was in or who selected the premium package, right? You did a query on that. Okay, 49. What is the most suitable, sorry, what is the most appropriate database data type for a field holding the marks from a class test? So you have results from an examination and you want to put the marks, what students received in a database. So what's going to be the data type for that? And the most appropriate field is numeric, right? So numeric, B. Okay, let's move on to 50. What is the given name to a collection of related fields in a database? So you have a database, and what do you call a collection of related fields? You have table, field, record, and column. And the most appropriate name for that is record. Right? The table will contain all information. A field is just one value. Column is a collection of fields of the same type of field, right? So a record is a collection of related fields. So you have first name, last name, age, email address for one person. That's a record. All right, so 51. The following variables, S, T, and U, have been assigned the values shown, S5, T6, and U3. Which of the following statements does not evaluate to true? So I'm going to give you all a couple, well, sorry, I'm going to give you all some time to work this out, and then I'll post the answer in the chat. So you have S is 5, T is 6, U is 3. And you want to know which statement does not evaluate to true. All right, so for A, U is 3. So is 3 greater than 7? No, right? So that's false. And then you have T, which is 6. 6 is less than or equal to 6, so that's true. Right? So you have false and true. So the first answer, this is false here, right? For the second one, S, which is 5. 5 is less than 6. That is true. And then you have 3, which is less than or equal to 5. 3 is less than or equal to 3. Yes, that is true. So the second one is true. T, 6 is not equal to 4. That is true. And you have S is equal to 5, which is also true. So C is true. D, you have U, 3 minus 2, 1 is less than or equal to 1, so that is true. So the only statement that does not evaluate it true is E. So the answer 51 is E. Okay. All right, let's try 52. Based on the following algorithm, what would be displayed for K? So you all could give you a little time to work on that. Right, so 52, the answer is C. So we have J is equal to 5, K is equal to J. So K is now 5, right? Then you have J is equal to J plus K. So J was 5 and K is 5. So the new J is equal to 10, right? And the new K would be equal to J, which is 10 plus 3. So you get 13. So the answer for 52 is C, which is 13. Anyone not able to do that or follow that would like to go over that again? For everybody clear on it? Everybody clear on it? Okay. All right. So 53. Which of the following algorithms does not display 4 consecutive numbers? Okay, so which one of these? For V equal 2 to 5, display V. H equals 1, while H is less than or equal to 5, display H. H equal H plus 1. For K equal to 7, down to 4, step minus 1, display K. And for, F is equal to 6, while F is less than 3, display F. Right, so remember, which algorithms does not display 4 consecutive numbers? Right? So one thing I want to highlight is, in general, the questions for the syllabus for IT. In the exam, you won't be assessed on programming, right? Or I should say, you won't be assessed on programming specific questions like Pascal, Pascal code, validating errors, etc. But you will be assessed, and they may increase your assessing your knowledge of the principles like algorithms and things like that. So this is an example of a very involved question on problem solving. Okay, so let's go, right? So for V equals 2 to 5, display V. So that means V is equal to 2. So you're going to display 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 4 consecutive numbers. So A displays 4 consecutive numbers. So that's not correct. That's out, right? We have H equal 1, while H is less than 5, display H. H is equal to H plus 1. So you're going to display 1, then H is now 2, you will display 2, H is now 3, you display 3, H is now 4, you display 4, H is now 5, you end the while. So B will also display 4 consecutive numbers. For K equals 7, down to 4, step minus 1, display K. So what this is doing, it's starting at 7 and it's going to 4 and it's decrementing by 1 each time. So it's going to do 7, 6, 5, 4. So that's 4 consecutive values also, right? The last one, you have f is equal to 6. Now, while f is less than 3, display f. And f is equal to f minus. So you're going to display, you're going to have f is equal to 6. So f is while f is less than 3. So is that ever going to happen? The answer will be no, right? Because f is 6. So for D, it's not going to even execute the while loop. So that's why the answer is D for 53. Any questions on that? All right. Move on to 54. The representation of the pseudocode statement read number in a flowchart symbol is what? So what is the correct symbol for when trying to read a number? 54. Right, so remember, you're reading, right? So read, you're gonna input information into your program or algorithm. And the symbol for that is the parallelogram, right, or rhombus. The rectangle is used for processing that shape, kind of an oval shape that's used for starting or stopping of the program. And the diamond in D is more like for decisions, right? So the answer for 54 is C. 55, the term used to describe a memory location whose value changes during program execution is what? So what is the term used to describe a memory location whose value changes during program execution? 55, is it a variable, volatile, constant, or dynamic? The answer for this is a variable, right? Because it will change as the program executes. Okay, 56. Which of the following are higher level languages? Pascal, COBOL, or assembly? All right, so we have Pascal, we have COBOL, and we have assembly. Right, so I would say it would be Pascal and COBOL. Assembly is is an example of a low-level language. All right, so A. Number 57. Program implementation involves a number of steps. Which of the following steps is not legitimate? So when writing a program, right, or program implementation, you have linking, bonding, executing, and compiling. So which one of these is not a legitimate step in the program implementation? Yes, so the answer is B, bonding. Okay. Okay, 58. Which of the following languages is only understood by computers? 4GLs, machine language, natural language, and procedural language. The answer is B, right? Machine language, and that's the language understood by computers only, and in that language, the instructions are sent in zeros and ones. All right. 59. Errors that occur in a program when the rules of the programming languages are not obeyed are called what? Right, so what this is asking, the rules of the language. So in Pascal, when we use certain words, or there's a rule that says you need to use the / keys to write a comment, or you use the word write line to put something out on the window. You use the word read line to take input from the user, and that will be related to syntax, right? So the answer will be A for that. Syntax errors. And then question 60. Which of the following is an example of a conditional construct? You have for next, for and for, if then else, while and while. So it's a conditional construct. Which one of the examples is which one is an example of a conditional construct? Right, so it's if then else, and it's conditions, right? So what that means is you're checking if a condition is true, you do something, else you want to execute something else, right? So the answer for that is C. And that's the general, that was the length of the general paper 1, 60 questions. So any questions based on this? Anybody has any questions? Anybody would like to review any questions again? No? All right. Well, the next thing I want to look at is I'll look at the paper 2 for that same paper, right? Because Okay, so in this question, John Taylor is the systems administrator at St. Joseph's High School. He has been asked by the principal to prepare a report that will show the requirements for the computers and other equipment to be purchased for the new computer lab. List any 4 of the major components that each computer system should have. So what are 4 components that each computer should have? Okay, okay. But what I want you to remember it in terms of how we listed the components during the course, right? So the motherboard, yes, but what is connected to the motherboard? So the CPU, yes, so the central processing unit is one of the components. What is another component? There is the memory, the RAM, that is a component, has to be in the computer system. There's secondary storage. Okay, you can add a hard drive, right, or some other device. And then you have input devices and output devices. Okay, so any 4 of those would be correct. Okay, second part of the question. State the function of any one of the major components of the system. Right, so you're going to take one component and you're going to state the function of it. So for example, you're going to take the, like you say, input device, right? An input device or devices are computer system components that feed data into the computer, right? So that's the input device. For the CPU, you could say this is a hardware device in a computer that executes all of the instructions from the software, right? If you decide to use the secondary storage, you could say this refers to non-volatile storage devices, such as hard drives. If it is you wanted to speak about output devices, you could say that allow processed information or results to be converted into a format that is available outside the computer system, right? So the first part was to identify the components, and the second one was to just explain the function of one component. Okay. Any questions based on that? No? Okay. All right. So the third part, John intends to create a network that spans the computer lab. Name the type of network that he needs to create. Right, so what type of network does John need to create that spans the computer lab? Right, so the answer is the LAN or the local area network, right? Okay. In preparing his report, John used the internet to assist him in finding the specifications of computers best suited for the computer lab. Okay, discuss any 2 approaches he could use to evaluate the reliability of the information he receives. Okay, so what's happening is he's writing a report and he uses the internet to assist him in finding specifications of the computers best suited for the lab. All right, so describe 2 approaches you could use to evaluate reliability of information you receive. So what he's going to do is he is going to he basically wants to know what is the best specs. So how much RAM should these computers have? You know, what sort of CPU should I buy? What is a good, you know, keyboard or preferred monitor? And you have to discuss approaches in terms of reliability. So things to consider would be how recent the information is, right? Because if you're searching for specifications on a computer and then you're looking at a article or a specification sheet from 10 years ago, right? That's not going to be relevant. So you're going to check how recent the information is, and you validate that by looking at the date of the article or the date of the paper, right? I could check for biases, right? Meaning if it is you're only checking for persons who buy Dell or HP computers and they're recommending Dell or HP, that could be a bias. So you need to look for objective sources, right? So someone who's sort of neutral and evaluating a wide range of computer systems, right? Because if it's a biased review, the seller may provide exaggerated views of the product quality. You know, they may be saying, well, this computer does this much better than a competitor. And you also need to check that the information is relevant by checking the prices and the technical specification delivery, etc. And that could be, you know, for example, you may go on Amazon and you're checking the specifications, but the prices you're looking at is US dollars, but you're purchasing in the local currency, right? So that's one thing. And then you need to ensure that if there's a delivery and this sort of thing is the region where the school is located. Okay, so everybody has an idea what they required for that question. It was more of a thinking question of how to make choices and what to consider. Note that question was 6 marks, right? So that was a lot of question there. All right. So part of this question, they also have a spreadsheet. And let me just zoom out a little bit. Right, so the required report must include a well-organized spreadsheet outlining all the needs of the lab and the expected costs in terms of equipment. The incomplete spreadsheet is shown below. Cell A1 is formatted across the columns for effective presentation, right? So state the name of the formatting feature used to achieve this. So what is the name of the formatting feature used to have cell A1 or this title display in this manner? Merge and center, correct. So that's exactly what we're looking for, merge and center. Because as you see, this one cell now is merged across all columns, and the text is centered also, right? Now write the text for the formula to be inserted in D3 to calculate the total cost for students' computers. So you're gonna write the formula in D3 for students' computers. So what is the formula you're gonna put here? Right? Yes. So reading the question again. the text formula is in D3, total cost of student computers, and the answer is equal B3 multiplied by C3 or C3 by B3. Yes, so that is correct. Write the text for the function to be inserted in D13 to calculate the total expected cost. So you write in the text for the function in D13 to calculate the total expected cost. And what would that function be? Anyone, you could post the answer in chat, and remember that is the function in D13 to calculate total expected cost. Right, so yes, equal sum D3 to D12, and that's how you're gonna find the total there. Now, just to let you know, if you put equal D3, D4, sorry, D3 plus D4 plus D5 plus until D12, that will give you the correct value. But remember, the question is the function, right? So you have to use the sum function. All right. Write a function that would insert the average cost per unit of an item in cell B15. B15. B15, that's the average cost per unit. And just read the question again. Write a function that will insert the average cost per unit of an item. So what that's saying is, this is the cost per unit, right? And you want to find the average of each one of these. And yes, so it's equal average C3 to C12. Okay, so that's the answer to that one. Now for part 4, write a function that would insert the average cost per unit. Oh, sorry, we did that one already. Part 5, John decides that he wants the rows reorganized so that they are in order of the most expensive to least expensive. Explain how we could do this using spreadsheet software. So he wants the rows organized that they are in order of most expensive to least expensive. Right? So how would he do that? Right? What's the function or the feature in Excel or spreadsheet you would use? All right, so the first thing he does, he will sort, right? He would implement the sort function, and he could sort the items, he could sort by the values in column C, so the cost per unit. And the other important part to include in this is you have to sort in descending order, because you're going to sort from the most expensive, so as the highest value, to the least expensive. So one is using the sort function or functionality, and the other thing is sorting the sorting order for the sending. All right, that's that there. All right. That was it for that question. All right, I'd just like to review question 4 here with you all. I'm putting it up. There is the entire question. I would like you all to place the answers in the chat. Right? The question reads, a local area network may be wired or wireless. Jennifer has a small apartment and has decided to set up a network that will connect all devices in a home that she uses frequently. And devices are desktop computer, laptop computer, Android cell phone, Android tablet, and printer. And they're asking to draw lines to correctly map the devices on the left with the expression on the right. Okay, what I'm saying you could do is you could put the device name and then put the description as a letter, right? So you could use either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'll give you some time to just write those out there. All right, so let's go through the solution. Okay, so the first thing, let's go with the right column. Used to send messages to the right computer on a single network. Okay, so the answer for the first description there is a switch, right? The switch is used to send messages to the right computer on a network. The second description, use when two different networks needs to be connected, right? So we discussed this a couple of times. When two different networks needs to be connected, you're going to use a router. So a router is the example for that second description. Type of wired transmission media which is used on local area networks. And the answer for that one is twisted pair. Converts analog signals to digital and digital signals to analog. And that's definition of a modem. So the modem is the answer for that. And the last one, prepares data, sends data, receives data, and controls data flow between a computer and the network to which it is connected. And the answer for that is network interface card. Right? So those are the answers for that question there. All right. Next part of this question, explain one disadvantage and one advantage of using wireless over wired network. Right, so one advantage and one disadvantage of a wireless network. So one advantage of a wireless network would be infrastructure-wise, right? So removing clutter, like wires, allowing the person to print, for example, from anywhere in a home rather than when the device is connected to the printer. With a wireless network, it's easier to install and set up new devices. You could add new devices to the network as compared to running wires to new devices. Also, in terms of printing, from a wireless with a wireless network, you could print from your phone or tablet, right? So those are examples of wireless networks. Now, one thing I want to point out is when describing or identifying the advantages and disadvantages, ensure to use the scenario you're in, right? So if you say it uses or there's no wires to be run, so there's less infrastructure, less clutter. The example would be to print, you don't have to connect to the printer using the wire, you could print from anywhere in the home. Now, in terms of disadvantages, for a wireless network, you need to add some more security in place to prevent the interception of messages, right? And then there are some concerns in general about the health, person's health and wireless signals in their homes, many wireless signals, right? So that's some disadvantages there. Okay, the third part of the question, state the name of the protocol or technology most commonly used to provide wireless computer networking in the home or office. So what is the name of that protocol or technology? Right, so the answer for that is Wi-Fi, right? That is the protocol or technology used for it. Okay, algorithms are used to express the steps required to solve a problem. Write an algorithm using simple pseudocode to do the following. Prompt a user by displaying the following statement. Please enter positive integers one at a time and -1 to indicate no further input. Accept values from the user until -1 is entered. Determine and display the sum of the numbers and the average of the numbers. So I want you all to take a couple minutes to do this, take 5 minutes to do this, and then you can post your answers in the chat, right? So again, you want to write an algorithm using simple pseudocode to prompt the user by displaying the following statement. Please enter positive integers one at a time and -1 to indicate no further input. Accept the values from the user until -1 is entered. Determine and display the sum and the average of the numbers. So take some time and do. Anyone was able to put this up to try with the algorithm? Anyone's working on it? I would like some more time. All right. So remember the algorithm using simple pseudocode. Prompt the user by displaying the following statement. Please enter positive integers one at a time and -1 to indicate no further input. Right? Accept the values from the user until -1 is entered. Determine and display some of the integers and the average of the numbers. Okay. So you want to first prompt the user and display some text, right? So first you're going to print some statement out. You all see the text pad that I have up? Yeah, okay, good. So print or output, please enter positive integers one at a time and the remainder, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you're going to read, right? So you're going to read a variable. So you're going to call this variable number, for example, right? Now you're going to accept values until -1 is entered, right? So that means you're going to repeat some statements until a condition is met. So you could use a while. So while number is not equal to -1, what you're going to do, you're going to determine the sum of the numbers and the average of the numbers. So you need to have some variable called sum equals sum plus number. Now you're using a variable here to calculate the sum called sum, and before we use that, we need to declare it and initialize it, right? So you do that on top. So sum equals the sum plus number. Then in order to calculate the average, you need to determine how many numbers were entered. So you could use another variable called count equals count plus 1. Similar to sum, this variable needs to be declared and initialized. Right? So after a user enters a number, you add it to the sum and then you count the number. Then you're gonna you should technically ask the user for another number and then read that number. Right? Now when the user finishes, they enter -1. So then you end the while loop. Right? After you end the while loop, then you print. So you print sum and then you print average. And you program. All right, so that information is clear to you all? Any questions on this? No? All right, okay. So notice that question was, that was 10 marks, right? So you have to be able to understand how to do this. Now, we have another pseudocode here. And this pseudocode begins, it says declare selected number and count. So what they're doing here is they're creating some variables. And then they're saying initializing count to 0. They're asking user to enter integers. Then you're going to read that integer into a variable called number. They have another variable called selected that number is added to, assigned to, right? Now, while count is less than 10, if number is less than selected, selected is equal to the number, count is equal to count plus 1, and then you're going to read a number, end while, print selected, and end. And the question is, state the problem the algorithm solves and explain how it solves it. What this algorithm is doing, this algorithm is allowing the user to enter numbers, or enter 10 numbers. And after which it displays the smallest of the numbers entered, right? So it's asking the user to enter a number, right? One number, and then it's checking to see if the number is less than a selective number. Then it's incrementing the count, asking you to enter another number. So that's how you're going to keep checking if count is less than or equal to 10. So it allows you to enter 10 numbers, right? And then it checks each number to ensure that number is less than the first. Okay? Because notice only if the number is less than selected, which is the first number, then it counts it. So this algorithm checks to see or checks two numbers to ensure one is less than the other. Okay, so it's important, as you see, to be able to read the pseudocodes and read the algorithms. Notice this could also be part of multiple choice, and the multiple choice could ask to you could be given a pseudocode, and then that pseudocode could perform some operation asking users information, and then you could have some questions based on the output of it. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to please ensure you continue revising your work, right? Ensure you understand the different topics. If you have any questions on select topics, you can bring the questions to class and we can address it. Okay. All right. Do you have any questions based on the class today? No? All right. All right, class, thank you very much, and we will resume